On today's video, we spotlight Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He grew up in a deeply religious household. His father and grandfather were both pastors, but faith alone didn't shield him from the reality of racism in the American South. As a kid, King experienced segregation firsthand: separate schools, separate buses, separate lives. One moment stayed with him forever. A white childhood friend told him that they could no longer play together simply because of the color of Martin's skin. The moment planted a question that would define his life. How can a nation built on freedom be denied to so many? King was brilliant. He skipped grade, entered college at just 15, eventually earned a doctorate in theology. But his true education came not from books, but from people. Inspired by the teachings of Jesus, the nonviolent resistant Mahatma Gandhi, King became convinced of one racial ideal: hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. In 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus. The black community of Montgomery, Alabama had enough. They chose a young relative, unknown pastor, Martin Luther King Jr., to lead a boycott of the city buses for 381 days. People walked instead of riding buses. King was arrested. His home was bombed. He received constant death threats, but he did not back down. The boycott worked. Segregation on Montgomery buses was ruled unconstitutional. On August 28, 1963, over 25,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Martin Luther King Jr. stepped on the podium. What followed would echo through history. I have a dream. I have a dream of a country where people are judged not by the color of their skin, but by their content of their character. It was not just a speech. It was a moral awakening. Change is never free. King was jailed more than 30 times. He was labeled as a troublemaker and an extremist, a threat. Still he marched, still he spoke, still he believed. In 1964, at just 35 years old, Martin Luther King Jr. became the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. On April 4th, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, Martin Luther King was assassinated. He was just 39 years old. The man was silent, but the move was not. Because King did not just change laws, he changed minds, he changed language, he changed what people believed was possible. Martin Luther King Jr. proved that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it speaks calmly, sometimes it marches peacefully, sometimes it dares to dream. His face reminds us that history isn't made by perfection, it is made by persistence. This has been Faces That Change History. If this story moves you, like, subscribe, and share, because remembering the past is how we shape the future.